The insistent rain mirrored the unsettling churn in my thoughts. It's a strange thing, isn't it? To spend an evening contemplating the possibility that you've been, and will continue to be, fundamentally wrong about your own existence. I'd been wrestling with this concept, quantum immortality, for weeks, and the more I considered it, the more it seemed to dismantle the comforting assumptions I'd built my entire life upon. It began with a simple question: what truly happens when we die? For so long, the answer was simple, neatly packaged in a religious narrative or a scientifically simplistic view of cellular degradation. But what if that simplicity is a carefully constructed illusion? Imagine a world where every near miss, every brush with catastrophe, isn't a lucky escape, but a testament to your continued presence in the universe. A world where death, as we traditionally understand it, isn't the final curtain, but merely a temporary setback. This isn't science fiction, it's rooted in one of the most controversial theories emerging from the strange realm of quantum physics. The theory, at its core, proposes that your consciousness might be perpetually jumping between alternate realities, each time narrowly avoiding an event that would otherwise end your life. It started with a young physicist named Hugh Everett Ether in 1957. Everett, a doctoral student at Princeton University, was grappling with a fundamental puzzle within quantum mechanics. The prevailing scientific wisdom at the time suggested that when we observe a quantum system, a particle, an atom, the act of observation itself forces the system to collapse into a single, definite state. But Everett proposed something radically different. What if, instead of collapsing, the quantum system continued to exist in a superposition of all its possible states simultaneously? What if every quantum event didn't result in a single outcome, but in a branching universe, where every conceivable possibility actually occurred? Picture reality not as a single linear timeline, but as an enormous, infinitely complex tree. At every node of that tree, where quantum uncertainty allows for multiple outcomes, a new branch splits off. In one branch, a photon passes through a detector. In another, it doesn't. An electron spins up in one universe, spins down in another. According to Everett's interpretation, now known as the many worlds interpretation, all these branches are equally real, equally valid expressions of the universal wave function. And here's where the profound implications begin to unfold for our understanding of consciousness and mortality. If every quantum event creates these branching realities, and if the biological processes that sustain your life, the very mechanisms of breathing, heartbeat, and neural firing rely on the delicate, probabilistic nature of quantum mechanics, then every moment of your life represents a branching point. You are, in essence, constantly selecting for survival among an infinite array of potential timelines. This isn't a passive existence, you're actively participating in the ongoing creation of your own reality. Consider the mechanics of photosynthesis, the process by which plants convert sunlight into energy. Recent research has revealed that plants don't simply randomly absorb sunlight, they utilize quantum superposition to explore multiple pathways for energy transfer simultaneously. Instead of a photon hopping randomly from molecule to molecule, it exists in a quantum state that allows it to find the most efficient path to the reaction center where photosynthesis occurs. This suggests that life itself, at its most fundamental level, is deeply intertwined with quantum mechanics. It's a startling thought that the intricate processes sustaining our existence rely on the bizarre, counterintuitive principles of the quantum world. However, the concept of quantum immortality quickly delves into a profoundly unsettling territory. To truly grasp the implications, we need to consider the thought experiment proposed by physicist Yuan Squires in the 1980s. He took Everett's many worlds idea to its logical and somewhat terrifying conclusion. Imagine a device connected to a quantum system, perhaps an electron that can spin either up or down with equal probability. This device is programmed to end your life if the electron spins up and to leave you unharmed if it spins down. In the classical world, you'd have a 50% chance of survival each time you activated this device. But in a many-worlds universe, something extraordinary happens. Each time you activate the device, reality splits. In one branch, the electron spins up. The device activates, and a version of you ceases to exist. In another branch, the electron spins down. The device remains inactive, and the version of you that continues experiences ongoing consciousness. Crucially, you can only experience the branches where you remain conscious. The branches where you die become inaccessible to your continuing awareness. This isn't merely a philosophical puzzle, it has profound implications for our subjective experience of reality. Some interpretations suggest that from your subjective perspective, you would experience an increasingly improbable series of survivals. The device would seem to malfunction repeatedly, or external events would intervene to save you. Not because the universe intentionally favors you, but because your consciousness can only follow the paths where it continues to exist. It's a chilling notion that your entire life has been an impossible series of narrow escapes, quantum leaps between realities, where death was avoided by increasingly unlikely margins. Consider the possibility that a seemingly random car accident, the near-fatal illness you miraculously recovered from, or even a turbulent flight, weren't the product of luck or chance, but evidence of your consciousness navigating between these quantum branches, always landing in the timelines where you continue to exist. This thought invites a deep reflection. Could our lives be shaped by an unseen quantum lottery? But the truly unsettling aspect of quantum immortality emerges when we consider the psychological cost of this endless survival. If your consciousness truly does jump between realities to avoid the end of conscious experience, you would eventually face a profoundly lonely existence. While you might continue to survive through quantum selection, there's no guarantee that your loved ones would follow the same improbable paths. Over time, you would find yourself in realities where friends and family members hadn't been quite so fortunate, the very mechanism preserving your consciousness gradually separating you from everyone you cared about. This creates a profoundly unsettling possibility that your existence becomes increasingly isolated and meaningless. Moreover, the concept clashes with our intuitive understanding of death. The classical view holds that death is a definitive end, a cessation of consciousness. Quantum immortality challenges this by suggesting that death is not an end, but a transition, a shift to a reality where you continue to exist, albeit in a different form, perhaps with no memory of your previous existence. The implications aren't just philosophical, they touch upon the very nature of identity and memory. If you've been jumping between realities, are you still the same you? Or are you a fragmented collection of experiences, constantly evolving and shaped by the realities you've inhabited? And what about memory? If your consciousness is constantly shifting, how can you retain a coherent sense of self? Perhaps the most significant challenge to quantum immortality theory lies in the nature of death itself. The classical view holds that death is a definitive end, a cessation of consciousness. Quantum immortality suggests that death is not an end, but a transition, a shift to a reality where you continue to exist, albeit in a different form, perhaps with no memory of your previous existence. It's a concept that invites us to confront the deepest questions about our existence, our purpose, our meaning, and our place in the vast, indifferent universe. It's a reminder that the reality we perceive may be just one of an infinite number of possibilities, and that our understanding of life and death may be far more fragile than we've ever imagined. The weight of that realization is, perhaps, the most profound consequence of contemplating quantum immortality. The persistent hum of possibility, the unsettling beauty of an infinite unfolding, these are the hallmarks of contemplating quantum immortality. It's a concept that simultaneously thrills and terrifies, demanding a recalibration of our deepest assumptions about existence, identity, and the very nature of death. For decades, scientists treated the quantum realm with a cautious distance, acknowledging its bizarre behaviors, but largely dismissing their implications for the macroscopic world, particularly for something as seemingly concrete as consciousness. The prevailing view was that quantum effects, those aethereal probabilities and superimposed states, were too delicate, too susceptible to the disruptive influence of the warm, wet environment of living organisms to play a significant role in sustaining life. But recent discoveries have begun to challenge this assumption, revealing that nature, it seems, has been quietly harnessing quantum mechanics for processes fundamental to life itself. Consider photosynthesis, the extraordinary process by which plants convert sunlight into chemical energy. For years, scientists attributed this efficiency to purely classical principles. However, recent research has unveiled a far more nuanced picture, suggesting that plants achieve their remarkable productivity by utilizing quantum superposition to explore multiple pathways for energy transfer simultaneously. Instead of energy hopping randomly from molecule to molecule, it exists in a quantum state that allows it to find the most efficient path to the reaction center where photosynthesis occurs. This suggests that life itself is already deeply quantum mechanical, operating on principles that defy our intuitive understanding of causality. The implications extend far beyond photosynthesis. The processes that sustain your existence, say from the electron transport chains in your mitochondria to the quantum tunneling events in enzyme reaction soil, depend on these subtle quantum effects. And if consciousness somehow interfaces with these quantum processes, then the branching nature of quantum reality might indeed affect the continuity of your subjective experience. This has led to the rise of the quantum theory of consciousness, a concept that initially met with considerable skepticism, but is now gaining increasing attention from scientists and philosophers alike. In the 1990s, Nobel Prize-winning physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hamar proposed a radical idea that consciousness might arise from quantum processes occurring within microtubules, tiny structures inside brain neurons. According to their theory, these microtubules, with their intricate lattice-like structure, can maintain quantum coherence long enough to perform quantum computations, essentially acting as microscopic quantum computers that give rise to conscious experience. This theory remains highly speculative, lacking definitive scientific consensus and substantial empirical evidence. However, recent experiments have provided intriguing hints that quantum effects might indeed play a role in brain function. Researchers have discovered that certain anesthetic drugs, which bind to microtubules, can alter quantum oscillations in these structures, and that these changes correlate with the onset of unconsciousness. This suggests, though it doesn't definitively prove, that quantum processes might be intimately connected to conscious awareness. The challenge lies in the very nature of observation itself. The act of measuring a quantum system inevitably disturbs it, collapsing its superposition state. Can consciousness, a fundamentally subjective experience, interact with a system that is so profoundly susceptible to external influences? But the potential implications are staggering. If consciousness does emerge from quantum processes, then it might be subject to the same branching behavior that characterizes other quantum systems. This opens the theoretical possibility that consciousness itself could navigate between quantum branches, always following the paths where awareness continues. This is the core of the quantum immortality concept, not merely surviving death, but perpetually transitioning to a new reality where your consciousness persists. This immediately raises the unsettling question: what happens to your memories, your sense of self, as you shift between these branches? Do you carry with you the accumulated experiences of your quantum journey, or does each branch begin fresh? Some interpretations suggest that memory itself might be quantum mechanical in nature. The process of encoding, storing, and retrieving memories involves complex neurochemical reactions that depend on quantum tunneling, electron transport, and other quantum phenomena. If memories are indeed quantum structures, they might exhibit the same superposition and entanglement properties as other quantum systems. This could mean that your memory is not a simple recording of past events, but a quantum superposition of experiences from multiple branches of reality. Those moments of déjà vu, those dreams that feel more real than waking life, those intuitions about paths not taken, could these be quantum echoes from other branches of your existence? The concept of quantum immortality isn't just about theoretical physics, it's profoundly psychological. It forces us to confront the very nature of identity and memory. If you've been jumping between realities as the theory suggests, are you still the same you? Or are you a fragmented collection of experiences, constantly evolving and shaped by the realities you've inhabited? And what about memory? If your consciousness is constantly shifting, how can you retain a coherent sense of self? The thought experiments associated with quantum immortality often paint a haunting picture: quantum Russian roulette, where your consciousness is subjected to a random, unpredictable transition to a new reality. While the probability of such a transition might be infinitesimally small, the implications are nonetheless profound. This immediately introduces a psychological cost, a sense of isolation and existential loneliness. If it's true that your consciousness truly does jump between realities to avoid the end of conscious experience, you would eventually face an increasingly lonely existence. While you continue to survive through this improbable quantum lottery, there's no guarantee that your loved ones would follow the same improbable paths. Over time, you would find yourself in realities where friends and family members hadn't been quite so fortunate in their quantum lottery. The very mechanism that preserves your consciousness would gradually separate you from everyone you care about. The implications of quantum immortality, if it exists, extend far beyond the simple question of survival. It raises unsettling ethical questions about moral responsibility. If every possible choice creates branching realities, and if all versions of yourself are equally real within their own branch of reality, then our traditional understanding of moral responsibility becomes more complex. Consider a simple moral choice whether to help a stranger in need. In a quantum multiverse, every possible response to the situation plays out across different branches. In some realities, you offer assistance. In others, you pass by. In others, you make completely different decisions with unforeseen consequences. The sheer number of possibilities becomes overwhelming, blurring the lines between right and wrong. One of the most fascinating aspects of quantum immortality is the potential for quantum entanglement between consciousness across different branches. In quantum mechanics, entangled particles remain connected regardless of the distance separating them. Could consciousness exhibit similar non-local connections across parallel realities? This speculative idea suggests that all versions of your consciousness might be subtly entangled, sharing information in ways that transcend the boundaries between quantum branches. Those moments of sudden insight, creative inspiration, or intuitive knowing might represent entangled communication between different versions of yourself across the multiverse. Of course, this remains firmly in the realm of speculation with no scientific consensus or empirical evidence, but it offers a compelling framework for understanding experiences that seem to transcend ordinary causation. Perhaps the most frustrating aspect of quantum immortality is that it's inherently untestable from an objective scientific standpoint. By definition, the theory deals with subjective experience across multiple realities. You can observe other people dying, but if quantum immortality is real, it's something you can only discover through your own continued existence. This makes quantum immortality more of a philosophical thought experiment than a testable scientific hypothesis. It belongs to that strange category of ideas that are logically consistent with our understanding of quantum mechanics, but forever beyond the reach of experimental verification. Yet, this doesn't diminish its power as a lens for examining consciousness, mortality, and the nature of subjective experience. Ultimately, contemplating quantum immortality forces us to confront the limitations of our own understanding of reality. It challenges us to consider the possibility that our experience of the universe is not a fixed, objective truth, but rather a subjective interpretation, a shimmering, probabilistic wave function constantly being shaped by the observer effect. Whether or not quantum immortality is real, contemplating it reveals profound truths about how we understand ourselves and our place in the universe. As we pause here in our exploration, take a moment to breathe and reflect on the journey we've taken so far. We've traveled from the abstract mathematics of quantum mechanics to the most intimate questions of your own existence. We've explored how the strange behavior of subatomic particles might connect to the deepest mysteries of consciousness and mortality. But our journey is far from over. In the next part of our exploration, we'll delve deeper into the implications of living in a quantum multiverse, examine the latest research on consciousness and quantum biology, and explore what quantum immortality might mean for how we choose to live our lives. We'll also investigate the profound philosophical questions this theory raises about identity, meaning, and the nature of reality itself. For now, though, let yourself sit with these ideas. Let them percolate through your consciousness, like quantum possibilities exploring multiple paths simultaneously. And remember that whether or not you're already immortal in the quantum sense, this moment of wonder, this capacity to contemplate the deepest mysteries of existence is itself a kind of miracle. If quantum immortality is real, then consciousness becomes something like an observatory, a focal point of awareness that samples experiences from across the quantum multiverse. But this raises a crucial question. What determines which branch your consciousness follows? Is it purely random, or is there some deeper principle at work? Some theorists propose that consciousness might naturally gravitate toward branches with maximum information content or complexity. In this view, your awareness doesn't just seek survival, but seeks rich, meaningful experiences. This could explain why your quantum journey might not just avoid death, but actively select for interesting, growth-oriented realities. Imagine consciousness as a kind of quantum surfer riding the waves of possibility toward experiences that offer the greatest potential for learning, connection, and understanding. This isn't to suggest that you consciously control which branch you follow, but rather that consciousness itself might have an inherent tendency toward complexity and meaning. This interpretation transforms quantum immortality from a mere survival mechanism into something more profound, a cosmic process by which consciousness explores the full spectrum of possible experiences. Every challenge you face, every joy you experience, every moment of growth becomes part of a vast quantum experiment in what it means to be aware. One of the most intriguing possibilities raised by quantum immortality involves quantum entanglement between consciousness across different branches. In quantum mechanics, entangled particles remain connected regardless of the distance separating them. Could consciousness exhibit similar non-local connections across parallel realities? This speculative idea suggests that all versions of your consciousness might be subtly entangled, sharing information in ways that transcend the boundaries between quantum branches. Those moments of sudden insight, creative inspiration, or intuitive knowing might represent entangled communication between different versions of yourself across the multiverse. Of course, this remains firmly in the realm of speculation with no scientific consensus or empirical evidence. But it offers a compelling framework for understanding experiences that seem to transcend ordinary causation. That song that gets stuck in your head for no apparent reason. That name that comes to mind just before you encounter that person. That solution to a problem that arrives fully formed in your consciousness. Could these be quantum messages from alternate versions of yourself? If quantum immortality is real, it raises profound ethical questions about how we should live. If every possible choice creates branching realities, and if all versions of yourself are equally real, then our traditional understanding of moral responsibility becomes more complex. Consider a simple moral choice, whether to help a stranger in need. In a quantum multiverse, every possible response to the situation plays out across different branches. In some realities, you offer assistance. In others, you pass by. The question becomes, do you bear moral responsibility for the actions of all your quantum selves, or only for the version you're consciously experiencing? Some philosophers argue that quantum immortality actually increases our moral responsibility. If all versions of yourself are real, then creating branches where you act with kindness and compassion becomes a way of literally making the multiverse a better place. Each ethical choice doesn't just affect your local reality, but contributes to the overall moral character of the quantum ensemble that constitutes your total existence. This perspective transforms every decision into a cosmic act of creation. When you choose compassion over indifference, courage over fear, truth over deception, you're not just shaping your personal reality, but adding branches of goodness to the infinite tree of possibility that represents your quantum existence. To understand how consciousness might theoretically navigate quantum branches, we need to examine recent breakthroughs in quantum biology. Scientists have discovered that living systems can maintain quantum coherence far longer than previously thought possible, even in the warm, noisy environment of biological tissue. Research on quantum coherence in photosynthetic systems has revealed that plants can maintain quantum superposition for hundreds of femseconds, long enough to explore multiple energy pathways simultaneously. This quantum exploration allows plants to find the most efficient route for energy transfer with remarkable precision. Similar quantum coherence has been discovered in other biological systems. Some birds appear to use quantum entanglement in their navigation systems with entangled electron pairs in their retinas, potentially serving as biological compass needles that align with Earth's magnetic field. Even the sense of smell might involve quantum tunneling with odorant molecules creating specific quantum vibrations that our olfactory system can detect. These discoveries suggest that life has evolved sophisticated mechanisms for harnessing quantum effects despite environmental decoherence. If consciousness emerges from biological processes, it might inherit these same quantum properties, potentially allowing awareness to maintain coherence across quantum branches. The most direct scientific investigation of quantum consciousness focuses on microtubules, tiny protein structures found within neurons. These hollow cylindrical structures, originally thought to simply provide structural support for cells, may actually serve as quantum information processing systems within the brain. Recent experiments have provided intriguing evidence for this quantum brain hypothesis. Researchers have found that anesthetic drugs that bind specifically to microtubules can disrupt quantum oscillations in these structures. More remarkably, the potency of different anesthetics correlates directly with their ability to dampen these quantum vibrations. This suggests that consciousness might indeed depend on quantum processes occurring within microtubules. When anesthetics disrupt these quantum oscillations, consciousness fades. When the quantum vibrations resume, awareness returns. While this doesn't prove that consciousness can navigate quantum branches, it does suggest that awareness itself might be fundamentally quantum mechanical in nature. One of the most mysterious aspects of quantum mechanics is the observer effect. The idea that the act of observation appears to influence quantum systems. While this doesn't mean that consciousness creates reality, it does suggest a deep connection between awareness and the quantum world. In the context of quantum immortality, this raises fascinating questions about the role of consciousness in selecting which quantum branch to follow. Could the act of being aware somehow influence which possibilities become actualized in your subjective experience? This remains highly speculative with no scientific consensus on the role of consciousness in quantum mechanics. But it offers an intriguing framework for understanding the relationship between awareness and reality. If consciousness does play a role in quantum observation, then your very awareness might be part of the mechanism that guides your path through the multiverse. Consider how your attention shapes your daily experience. The things you focus on seem to become more prominent in your life. Opportunities you notice tend to multiply. People you think about often appear unexpectedly. While this could be simple confirmation bias, it might also reflect a deeper connection between consciousness and the quantum structure of reality. But perhaps the value of quantum immortality lies not in its literal truth, but in how it transforms our relationship with existence itself. Whether or not we are quantum beings hopping between realities, the theory invites us to consider the profound interconnectedness of consciousness, choice, and possibility. It suggests that every moment of awareness is precious, not just because life is finite, but because consciousness itself might be the universe's way of exploring its own infinite potential. Through your awareness, through your choices, through your very being, the cosmos comes to know itself in ways that would be impossible without consciousness. This perspective transforms the mundane into the miraculous, that cup of tea you're sipping, the breath moving through your lungs, the thoughts arising and passing in your mind. All of these become expressions of the universe's quantum nature, possibilities selected from an infinite array of alternatives. One of the most remarkable aspects of quantum immortality is how it subtly alters our perception of loss. Imagine a cherished memory of a loved one, a moment of profound joy, a lesson learned through struggle. Within the framework of quantum immortality, these aren't simply echoes of the past, they become persistent strands interwoven throughout your existence, existing across countless branches of the multiverse. It's a comforting notion, isn't it? To conceive of your loved ones not as permanently vanished, but as continuing their journeys, exploring alternative narratives, expanding their experiences within the boundless expanse of possibility. This isn't a denial of grief, of course. The sorrow you feel for someone you've lost remains undeniably real, a testament to the depth of your connection. But quantum immortality provides a gentle counterpoint, a subtle reassurance that their essence, their spirit, persists not in a static, unchanging form, but as a vibrant, ever-evolving thread within the grand tapestry of existence. It's like holding a single note. It can fade, disappear momentarily, but it always returns, subtly altered, reshaped by the very act of being heard. Similarly, the memories of your loved ones continue to resonate within you, carrying their influence, their wisdom, their love across the branches of the multiverse. And this profound interconnectedness extends beyond personal relationships. It encompasses all experiences, all moments of awareness, all acts of creation, both individual and collective. It's a cosmic dance of entanglement, a continuous flow of information and energy that links us to everything that ever was and everything that ever will be. It's a humbling realization, isn't it? To understand that you are not merely a solitary consciousness adrift in an indifferent universe, but an integral part of a vast, interconnected network of awareness, a node in a quantum web that spans across time and space. The implications of this perspective are far-reaching, demanding a fundamental shift in our understanding of morality, responsibility, and ultimately, the meaning of life. If every choice we make creates a branching reality, and if all versions of ourselves are equally real, then our traditional notions of moral accountability become profoundly complicated. What does it mean to be held responsible for actions that occur in a reality you may never experience? Yet, perhaps this complexity is precisely what makes morality so challenging and so rewarding. It compels us to consider the potential consequences of our actions, not just for ourselves, but for all the versions of ourselves that might exist across the multiverse. It encourages us to cultivate compassion, empathy, and a deep respect for the inherent worth of every conscious being, regardless of their circumstances or their reality. And as you contemplate these ideas, remember that the true beauty of quantum immortality lies not in its ability to conquer death, but in its capacity to transform our relationship with life itself. It invites us to embrace the inherent uncertainty of existence, to celebrate the boundless possibilities of creation, and to live each moment with a profound sense of wonder and gratitude. For in the end, it is not the length of our lives that matters, but the quality of our awareness, the richness of our experiences, and the legacy of love and compassion that we leave behind. And who knows, perhaps when our own journey comes to an end, we too will find ourselves branching out into new realities, continuing our exploration of the infinite cosmos, forever bound by the threads of quantum entanglement and the enduring power of consciousness. As you sit with these ideas, breathing slowly and letting them settle into your awareness like sediment in still water, remember that the greatest gift of quantum immortality theory isn't the promise of literal immortality. It's the invitation to see your existence as part of something infinitely larger and more wondrous than you ever imagined. Whether consciousness navigates quantum branches or not, you're already participating in the universe's greatest experiment, the emergence of awareness from matter, the flowering of subjective experience from objective reality, the cosmic process by which existence comes to know itself through your eyes, your thoughts, your very being. But perhaps the most profound implication of quantum immortality isn't what it says about death, but what it reveals about choice itself. If consciousness truly navigates between quantum branches, then every decision you make becomes an act of cosmic selection. A moment where you literally choose which version of reality to inhabit. Think about the choices you made today. That decision to take a different route to work, to call an old friend, to pause and watch the sunset. In our everyday understanding, these are simply personal preferences playing out in a single timeline. But through the lens of quantum immortality, each choice represents a branching point where you selected one path among infinite possibilities. Some interpretations suggest that consciousness doesn't just passively experience whichever branch it finds itself in, but actively participates in the selection process. Not through deliberate control, but through something more subtle, a quantum resonance between awareness and possibility that draws consciousness toward experiences aligned with its deepest nature. This isn't to suggest that you consciously manifest your reality through positive thinking, a concept that lacks scientific support. Rather, it points towards something far more nuanced. The possibility that consciousness and quantum reality share a fundamental affinity, a kind of cosmic compatibility that influences which paths through the multiverse feel most natural to follow. As you contemplate these ideas, you might find yourself wondering about the nature of memory in a quantum multiverse. If multiple versions of your life are unfolding simultaneously across different branches, do these experiences somehow bleed through into your awareness? Recent research in neuroscience has revealed that memory is far more fluid and reconstructive than we once believed. Each time you recall an experience, your brain doesn't simply retrieve a static file, but actively rebuilds the memory, often incorporating new information and perspectives. This reconstructive process might be more than just a quirk of neural architecture. It could be a window into the quantum nature of consciousness itself. Consider those moments when a memory feels somehow larger than the experience that created it. When recalling a simple conversation carries emotional weight that seems disproportionate to what actually happened. Could these be instances where your awareness is accessing not just the memory from your current branch, but quantum echoes from similar experiences across multiple realities? This remains purely speculative, of course, with no scientific evidence to support such ideas. But it offers a fascinating lens through which to examine the mysterious nature of personal history and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. Dreams, too, take on new significance when viewed through the quantum immortality framework. Those vivid nocturnal narratives, where you live completely different lives, where you possess knowledge you've never acquired, where you navigate landscapes that feel familiar despite being impossible. Might they be more than random neural firings during sleep? Some interpretations suggest that during dream states, when the brain's normal filtering mechanisms are relaxed, consciousness might gain access to experiences from adjacent quantum branches. The businessman who dreams of being an artist, the parent who dreams of a childless life, the city dweller who dreams of rural solitude. These nocturnal journeys might represent glimpses into the lives being lived by alternate versions of themselves. While there's no scientific consensus supporting this idea, it aligns intriguingly with the phenomenology of dreaming. Dreams often feel simultaneously foreign and familiar, as if we're remembering experiences we've never had. They provide access to knowledge and skills our waking minds don't possess. And they sometimes offer solutions to problems we haven't consciously been working on. Whether dreams are quantum windows or simply the brain's way of processing information, they remind us that consciousness is far more fluid and mysterious than our waking experience suggests. In the quiet theater of sleep, awareness explores territories that daylight logic can't explain. If quantum immortality theory holds any truth, then presence itself becomes a kind of spiritual practice, a way of fully inhabiting whichever branch of reality consciousness has selected. Each moment of mindful awareness becomes an affirmation of this particular path through the infinite maze of possibility. This perspective transforms meditation from a personal wellness practice into something more cosmic. When you sit quietly and observe your breath, when you notice thoughts arising and passing without attachment, when you rest in the simple fact of being aware, you might be participating in the universe's own process of self-observation across quantum branches. Take a moment now to notice your own awareness. Feel the weight of your body, the rhythm of your breathing, the subtle sensations that confirm your presence in this particular reality. In a quantum multiverse, this exact configuration of experience, this precise moment of consciousness, represents one path among infinite possibilities, selected somehow from the vast tree of potential that defines your existence. Whether this selection happens randomly or through some deeper principle we don't yet understand, the fact remains remarkable. Out of all possible experiences available to consciousness, you are having this one right now in this moment. There's something almost miraculous about the specificity of present moment awareness in a universe of infinite possibility. Earlier, we explored how quantum immortality might lead to increasing isolation as your consciousness follows survival paths that others don't share. But there's another way to understand this apparent loneliness, one that transforms isolation into a kind of cosmic responsibility. If you are indeed navigating quantum branches toward realities where consciousness persists, then you become something like a steward of awareness itself. Your continued existence isn't just personal survival, but the preservation of a particular perspective, a unique way of experiencing reality that adds to the universe's total catalogue of possible experiences. This doesn't diminish the importance of consequences in your current reality. It simply adds another layer of meaning to moral action. You act ethically, not just because it creates better outcomes in this branch of reality, but because it literally creates better versions of existence across the entire spectrum of possibility. Consider how this might change your approach to difficult decisions. That moment of choosing whether to speak truth in a challenging situation, whether to extend forgiveness when you've been hurt, whether to act with compassion when it would be easier to remain indifferent. These choices take on new weight when viewed as contributions to the quantum ensemble of all possible selves. This perspective doesn't diminish the importance of consequences in your current reality. It simply adds another layer of meaning to moral action. You act ethically, not just because it creates better outcomes in this branch of reality, but because it literally creates better versions of existence across the entire spectrum of possibility. As we approach the edge of current scientific understanding, it's important to acknowledge the vast territory that remains unexplored. Quantum immortality theory operates at the intersection of quantum mechanics, consciousness studies, and philosophy of mind, three fields that are themselves filled with unsolved mysteries. Recent advances in quantum biology continue to reveal how life harnesses quantum effects in ways previously thought impossible. Plants using quantum coherence in photosynthesis, birds navigating by quantum entanglement, potentially even our sense of smell, relying on quantum tunneling. These discoveries suggest that the boundary between the quantum world and biological reality is far more porous than we once believed. But translating into theories about consciousness and survival across parallel realities requires enormous leaps that current science cannot support. The gap between demonstrating quantum effects in biological systems and proving that consciousness can navigate between quantum branches remains vast and may always remain. So this uncertainty isn't a weakness of the theory, but perhaps its greatest strength. Quantum immortality exists in that liminal space where science meets philosophy, where rigorous thinking encounters the deepest mysteries of existence. It serves as an invitation to hold multiple possibilities, simultaneously to remain curious about questions that may never have definitive answers. Take a breath now and notice how these concepts settle in your awareness. You don't need to believe in quantum immortality for it to serve its purpose as a lens for examining consciousness, choice, and the nature of subjective experience. Whether consciousness navigates quantum branches or not, you're already participating in something extraordinary. The emergence of awareness from matter. The universe coming to know itself through your eyes. The theory offers a unique perspective on what it means to be alive in an uncertain universe. It suggests that consciousness itself might be more resilient, more fundamental, more intricately woven into the fabric of reality than our ordinary understanding suggests. This doesn't promise literal immortality, but it does point toward the profound mystery of awareness itself. Whether you find comfort or unease in these ideas, whether they spark wonder or skepticism, they serve their purpose by expanding the horizon of possibility. They invite you to consider that your existence might be far more significant, far more connected to the cosmic order than you ever imagined. But what does any of this mean for how you actually live your life? If quantum immortality remains unproven and potentially unprovable, does contemplating it offer any practical wisdom for navigating everyday reality? Some would argue that quantum immortality theory, whether true or not, encourages a particular orientation toward existence. It suggests approaching life with a sense of cosmic responsibility, recognizing that your choices and awareness might have implications beyond what you can directly observe. This might translate into greater mindfulness in decision-making, not because you're trying to control which quantum branch you follow, but because every choice contributes to the total story of consciousness exploring reality. It might encourage deeper presence in each moment, recognizing that this specific configuration of experience represents something unique and unraterable in the vast space of possibility. Most importantly, it might foster a kind of existential humility, a recognition that consciousness and reality are far stranger and more wonderful than our ordinary understanding suggests. This humility can become a doorway to wonder, a reminder that every moment of awareness occurs against a backdrop of mystery that science is only beginning to explore. This brings us to a fascinating ethical dimension of quantum immortality theory. If every possible version of your life is unfolding simultaneously across the multiverse, what does this mean for moral responsibility and personal growth? One interpretation suggests that quantum immortality actually amplifies the significance of ethical choices. If your decisions create branching realities, then choosing kindness over cruelty, courage over fear, truth over deception, doesn't just affect your local timeline, but literally creates more goodness in the total sum of existence. Each ethical choice becomes an act of cosmic creation, a way of ensuring that among the infinite versions of yourself, more of them embody the qualities you most value. This isn't about personal salvation or reward, but about contributing to the moral fabric of the multiverse itself. Consider how this might change your approach to difficult decisions. That moment of choosing whether to speak truth in a challenging situation, whether to extend forgiveness when you've been hurt, whether to act with compassion when it would be easier to remain indifferent. These choices take on new weight when viewed as contributions to the quantum ensemble of all possible selves. This perspective doesn't diminish the importance of consequences in your current reality. It simply adds another layer of meaning to moral action. You act ethically, not just because it creates better outcomes in this branch of reality, but because it literally creates better versions of existence across the entire spectrum of possibility. The echoes of those initial discoveries resonated, not as definitive proof, but as a profound invitation. The gap between the demonstrable strangeness of quantum mechanics and the undeniable, deeply felt experience of consciousness remained a formidable chasm. Yet, that uncertainty itself held a peculiar beauty, a space for exploration that transcended the limitations of purely scientific inquiry. Quantum immortality wasn't about asserting a literal, verifiable truth. It was about shifting perspective, about recognizing the potential for profound interconnectedness, a sense of responsibility that stretched far beyond the confines of our individual lives. Consider the weight of those theoretical possibilities as you reflect. It's a humbling notion, isn't it? The idea that every choice, every moment of hesitation or action, doesn't simply play out within the boundaries of this single reality. Instead, it seeds the potential for countless alternate versions of yourself, each navigating a unique trajectory through the vast, branching landscape of possibility. It's a perspective that can reshape how you approach even the most mundane decisions. That conversation with a colleague, the route you choose to take home, the way you respond to a moment of frustration, they aren't isolated events. They are ripples emanating outwards, contributing to the overall story of your consciousness, a story that unfolds across an infinite number of alternate realities. The beauty of this concept lies not in the seeking of certainty, but in the embrace of the unknown. Science, in its relentless pursuit of measurable data, often struggles with the inherently subjective nature of experience. Quantum immortality provides a framework for acknowledging that fundamental connection, a way to honor the profound mystery at the heart of being. It's an invitation to hold multiple possibilities simultaneously, to remain perpetually curious, even when definitive answers elude us. Perhaps the act of contemplating these ideas, the very act of wondering about the nature of reality, is itself a key element in the process. Take a deep, conscious breath. Notice the sensation of the air filling your lungs, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. In this moment of focused awareness, you are already participating in something extraordinary, the emergence of awareness from matter. The universe, in its vast, intricate complexity, coming to know itself through your eyes. It's a reciprocal dance of observation and existence. This isn't about controlling which branch you follow, but about acknowledging your role as a conscious agent within a dynamic, ever-evolving system. Let's examine the implications of this perspective on a personal level. When faced with a difficult decision, a career shift, a relationship crossroads, a moment of profound regret, rather than viewing it as a solitary struggle, consider it as a potential quantum branching event. It's a moment where your consciousness, influenced by a confluence of factors, your values, your desires, your fears, selects one path among countless others. It's a recognition that the outcome isn't simply determined by your choices, but by the complex interplay of forces within and around you. This doesn't negate the importance of responsible action or the consequences of your behavior within this reality. Ethical choices remain paramount, but it adds another layer of meaning, a sense of contribution to the overall narrative of consciousness exploring reality. You act ethically not just because it creates better outcomes in this branch of reality, but because it contributes to the potential for better versions of existence across the entire spectrum of possibility. However, the most unsettling aspect of this perspective emerges when you contemplate the mirror effect. Every decision you've ever made, every path you've chosen, every moment where you turned left instead of right, creates ripples across the quantum multiverse. And here's where the true weight of the concept settles in. If quantum immortality is true, then somewhere, amidst the unfathomable expanse of parallel realities, exists a version of you who made every opposite choice you've ever made. Consider the implications with a clear mind. That career path you abandoned, that relationship you ended, that risk you didn't take in other branches of the multiverse, other versions of yourself, are living out those alternative narratives right now. They're experiencing the consequences of choices you decided against, learning lessons from paths you'll never walk, loving people you'll never meet. The sheer scale of this possibility is understandably disorienting. It's tempting to dismiss this as mere philosophical speculation, a comforting fantasy designed to alleviate guilt or regret. But the implications extend far beyond personal psychology. It forces us to confront the fundamental nature of identity, the fluidity of experience, and the interconnectedness of all things. Now, let's delve deeper into the mechanics or lack thereof behind this concept. The question of how consciousness navigates this multiverse is, frankly, a profound mystery. Current science offers no definitive answers. However, some intriguing theories attempt to bridge the gap between quantum mechanics and consciousness. One promising area of research involves quantum coherence in neural microtubules. These tiny protein structures within brain neurons are capable of maintaining quantum states for remarkably long periods. This suggests a potential mechanism by which consciousness might interface with quantum reality at the most fundamental level. It's important to acknowledge that this remains highly speculative. But the implications are staggering. If decision-making involves quantum processes, then every choice you make might literally split reality into multiple branches. Your consciousness doesn't simply select from pre-existing options, it actively participates in creating the very alternatives it chooses between. Recent neuroscience research has revealed that decision-making involves complex networks of neural activity that build toward a threshold before conscious choice emerges. Some interpretations suggest that during this build-up phase, the brain might exist in a quantum superposition of multiple decision states, collapsing into a specific choice only when the threshold is reached. This would mean that the moment before you make any decision, your brain literally contains multiple possible futures in quantum superposition. But perhaps the most profound implication lies in how this perspective shapes our understanding of human relationships. If consciousness truly navigates between quantum branches, what happens to the bonds we form with others? Do the people we love follow similar paths through the multiverse, or do we risk losing them as we jump between realities? Some interpretations suggest that deep emotional connections might create a kind of quantum entanglement between conscious beings, a concept that currently exists solely in the realm of speculation. This wouldn't necessarily imply the ability to communicate across vast distances, but perhaps a deeper resonance, a shared experience of reality that transcends individual boundaries. The grief we feel when we lose someone close might reflect not just the absence of their physical presence, but the breaking of this quantum entanglement. And what of the broader implications for our understanding of reality itself? The physicist Eugene Wigner proposed the enterprise argument, suggesting that humans are unique in their ability to ask fundamental questions about the universe, questions that science then attempts to answer. But perhaps the fundamental mystery lies not in the answers, but in the very act of questioning. Finally, consider the perspective offered by the observer effect. Quantum mechanics describes how the act of observing a quantum system affects its behavior. While this doesn't necessarily imply that consciousness creates reality in any direct sense, it does suggest a fundamental connection between awareness and the quantum world. As you listen to these words, notice how your attention shapes this very moment. It's a subtle yet powerful reminder that you are not merely a passive observer of reality, but an active participant in its unfolding. Ultimately, contemplating quantum immortality isn't about seeking definitive proof. It's about embracing a more expansive, interconnected view of existence, perspective that honors the profound mystery at the heart of being. It's a reminder that the universe is far stranger and more wonderful than we can ever fully comprehend. And in that recognition, there lies a profound sense of awe and possibility. Let's delve deeper into the implications of this extraordinary perspective, exploring how the contemplation of quantum immortality might subtly, yet profoundly, reshape the way you engage with the world. It's not about rigidly adhering to a set of beliefs, but rather about adopting a fundamental orientation, a way of being that honors the inherent strangeness and potential of existence. Consider the simple act of noticing. Quantum immortality doesn't offer a method for manipulating reality through focused intention. Instead, it suggests that the very act of paying attention, truly noticing the world around you, holds a significance far beyond the subjective experience. You've already heard how your attention shapes the moment, bringing invisible sounds into focus, revealing previously unnoticed sensations, and making unconscious thoughts perceptible. But in the context of quantum immortality, this is more than just a heightened awareness, it's an active participation in the universe's ongoing experiment. Every time you choose to observe, to truly see, you contribute to the ongoing exploration of what conscious experience can be. It's akin to a scientist carefully documenting a phenomenon, not to control it, but to understand it better. Think about your interactions with others. If consciousness genuinely navigates between quantum branches, then empathy takes on a completely new dimension. It's not simply feeling another person's pain or joy, it's recognizing that you are momentarily sharing a sliver of their experience. A fleeting connection across a potential multitude of realities. This doesn't demand you solve every other person's problems, but it does necessitate a willingness to approach each interaction with genuine curiosity and a fundamental acceptance of another person's unique perspective, even if that perspective seems radically different from your own. It's a recognition that every individual is, in a sense, a branching possibility, and that your response to them contributes to the overall tapestry of conscious experience. The concept of time itself undergoes a subtle shift. If every possible version of you is living out a different iteration of your life across the multiverse, then the past and future cease to be fixed points. Instead, they become fluid streams of potentiality, influenced by your present moment awareness. This doesn't imply you can rewrite history, but it does suggest a loosening of the grip of linear time. You are less constrained by the dictates of the past and less burdened by the anxieties of the future. Your focus is entirely anchored in the present, in the act of experiencing fully and consciously. Furthermore, consider the nature of risk. When faced with a difficult decision, a quantum immortality perspective can transform fear from a paralyzing force into a potent catalyst for exploration. Instead of agonizing over potential negative outcomes, you acknowledge that every choice opens up a new branch of possibility. It's not about eliminating risk, but about embracing the inherent uncertainty of existence. This perspective can foster a remarkable resilience, a capacity to bounce back from setbacks, knowing that even the most challenging experiences ultimately contribute to the overall trajectory of your conscious evolution. Now, let's address the frequently raised question, what about moral responsibility? As you've heard, the traditional ethical framework, predicated on a single timeline and discernible consequences, becomes profoundly complicated. But this complexity isn't a source of despair, it's an invitation to a deeper, more nuanced understanding of morality. If every action you take creates a ripple effect across the multiverse, then every act of compassion, every expression of kindness, every commitment to truth amplifies the positive potential within the overall structure of conscious experience. Conversely, every act of cruelty, every expression of hatred, every act of dishonesty reinforces the negative potential. It's not about assigning blame, but about recognizing that your choices actively shape the moral character of reality itself. This approach inherently promotes a greater sense of responsibility, not as a burden, but as a profound recognition of your influence within the grand scheme of things. Let's examine the potential role of regret. If every possible version of you is experiencing a different life, then the experience of regret inevitably takes on a different hue. It's not about dwelling on what could have been, but about recognizing that even the most painful experiences contribute to the ongoing evolution of your consciousness. Each mistake, each missed opportunity, serves as a valuable data point, informing your understanding of yourself and the dynamics of existence. It's a perspective that fosters forgiveness, both of yourself and others, acknowledging that everyone is simply navigating their own unique path through the multiverse. And what of loneliness? The idea of quantum immortality has often been associated with a sense of isolation, a feeling of being utterly alone in a vast, uncaring universe. However, this perception can be radically transformed. If consciousness genuinely navigates between quantum branches, then your continued awareness serves a profound cosmic function. You become a witness, a point of observation through which the universe comes to know itself. Every experience you have, every emotion you feel, every insight you gain contributes to the universe's ongoing exploration of what conscious experience can be. This isn't a solitary endeavor, it's a fundamental participation in the creation of reality. It's akin to a musician composing a symphony. The individual notes are unique, but together they create a harmonious whole. Consider the simple act of appreciating beauty. A sunset, a piece of music, a work of art. These experiences take on a new dimension when viewed through the lens of quantum immortality. You're not simply enjoying a pleasant sensation, you're witnessing the universe's own expression of wonder and delight. And in that shared moment of awe, you are joining the ongoing conversation between consciousness and reality. Finally, let's revisit the idea of presence. The most consistent message of this exploration isn't about controlling reality or achieving a specific outcome. Instead, it's about cultivating a state of profound presence, a willingness to fully inhabit the present moment, without judgment, without attachment, without the need to fix or control anything. This isn't a passive state, it's an active engagement with the world, informed by a deep awareness of the interconnectedness of all things. As you move through your days, consider how you might embody this perspective. Perhaps it begins with a simple act of gratitude, appreciating the beauty of the ordinary, the joy of connection, the gift of simply being. Or perhaps it's about cultivating a deeper sense of empathy, a willingness to see the world through another person's eyes. Ultimately, the contemplation of quantum immortality offers not a set of answers, but a fundamental shift in orientation. It's an invitation to live with a greater sense of wonder, a deeper appreciation for the mysteries of existence, and an unwavering commitment to the present moment. It encourages us to recognize that we are not merely passengers on a journey through time and space, but active participants in the ongoing creation of reality itself. The notion of loneliness, initially presented as a core element of quantum immortality, deserves a deeper examination. It's easy to frame the concept as a solitary journey through branching realities, yet a more nuanced understanding reveals it as a profoundly interconnected experience. Rather than viewing this existence as a solitary exploration, consider it as a continuous act of witnessing a role far grander than simple survival. Your awareness isn't simply leaping from one timeline to another, you become a point of observation, a unique lens through which the universe comes to perceive itself. Every sensation, every emotion, every fleeting thought contributes to an ongoing experiment, a cosmic investigation of possibilities. This isn't a lonely exile, but a sacred solitude, akin to the contemplative experience described throughout history, the feeling of being uniquely positioned to encounter and understand a particular facet of existence. It's the awareness of being part of something infinitely larger, a thread woven into the fabric of the universe's self-discovery. When you find yourself lost in moments of profound reflection, consider the potential for a deeper connection. The intensity of beauty, the awe inspired by a starlit night, the surge of love that transcends personal boundaries, these aren't merely aesthetic experiences. They represent glimpses of consciousness recognizing its fundamental role in the universe's unfolding. It's as if the cosmos, in its infinite exploration of what can be, requires a conscious witness to validate the experience itself. The universe, through you, comes to know its own nature. Recent advancements in quantum biology offer tantalizing support for this perspective. The discovery that photosynthetic organisms leverage quantum coherence to achieve unparalleled energy transfer efficiency, exploring multiple pathways simultaneously, isn't just a scientific curiosity. It suggests a fundamental harmony between life and the quantum realm. Similarly, the research on bird navigation, particularly the intriguing possibility of quantum entanglement facilitating biological compass systems, and emerging findings on quantum tunneling in human action potentially explaining our ability to distinguish molecules with identical shapes but differing vibrational frequencies all point to a deeper interconnectedness than previously imagined. These discoveries suggest that biological systems have evolved sophisticated mechanisms for maintaining quantum coherence. And if consciousness emerges from these biological processes, it may inherit these quantum properties, enabling awareness to potentially maintain coherence across branching realities. The most direct evidence for quantum processes in the brain comes from research on neural microtubules. These structures exhibit quantum oscillations, and anesthetic drugs disrupt these oscillations, causing consciousness to fade. When oscillations resume, awareness returns. While this doesn't definitively prove that consciousness navigates quantum branches, it strongly suggests that awareness itself is fundamentally quantum mechanical in nature. But what practical guidance does the theory offer for navigating the complexities of everyday life? It's tempting to view quantum immortality as a philosophical puzzle, a fascinating thought experiment detached from the mundane realities of existence. However, the underlying orientation it promotes a deep presence, ethical responsibility, and a recognition of the profound mystery beneath our experience offers a remarkably useful framework. Whether or not consciousness truly navigates quantum branches, the pursuit of this orientation yields tangible benefits. The encouragement to be fully present, to notice the world with heightened awareness, naturally translates to a more mindful approach to daily activities. This isn't about manipulating quantum outcomes, but about recognizing that every moment of awareness contributes to the universe's ongoing exploration of what consciousness can be. It naturally fosters more thoughtful decision-making, prompting an awareness that choices have implications beyond what is immediately observable. Perhaps the most significant gift of quantum immortality lies in the cultivation of existential humility. It encourages a recognition that consciousness and reality are far stranger and more wondrous than our conventional understanding allows. This doesn't diminish the significance of individual experience, rather. It elevates it to a fundamental part of a cosmic process. It fosters a sense of awe and connection, transforming ordinary moments into opportunities for profound wonder. As you move through your day, consider that a simple conversation with a cashier might be a unique moment in the cosmic exploration of human connection. That decision about taking an umbrella becomes a subtle participation in the universe's navigation of infinite possibilities. And that appreciation of a sunset, a recognition of beauty as a fundamental feature of reality, represents consciousness observing and validating that beauty. However, grappling with quantum immortality inevitably leads to challenging questions, particularly concerning the practical implications of survival across multiple realities. The prevailing model assuming a binary split between existence and non-existence represents a stark, and perhaps overly simplistic, picture of death. Yet, biological reality is far messier. Aging doesn't provide convenient quantum branch points instead. It's a gradual erosion of function that resists the clean logic of quantum jumping. The problem of biological decay demands careful consideration. If consciousness truly navigates quantum branches to avoid death, how would it handle the slow, inevitable dimming of awareness that accompanies aging. The progressive loss of memory, the gradual shutdown of organ systems, these aren't neatly defined moments of transition, but rather a slow, complex process that presents a significant challenge to the theory. Some speculative interpretations suggest that quantum immortality might not be about youth, but rather about stretching consciousness across increasingly improbable scenarios where aging proceeds more slowly. You might find yourself in timelines where medical breakthroughs occur just in time to extend your life, or where your particular genetic makeup proves more resilient than anticipated, or where environmental factors align to slow the aging process in subtle ways. Yet, these scenarios raise profound questions about the nature of the consciousness that would persist. Would it remain fully itself across these quantum leaps? Or would it become a faded echo, attenuated by the cumulative effects of temporal displacement? Finally, understanding the theoretical underpinnings of consciousness necessitates grappling with the measurement problem in quantum mechanics. This fundamental challenges the fact that quantum systems exist in superpositions until observed becomes even more intriguing when applied to the subjective experience of living. If quantum immortality operates through consciousness navigating branching realities, then awareness itself, the very act of observation, becomes both the observer and the observed, a self-regulating system participating in the crystallization of reality. Research on neural microtubules, with their quantum oscillations and sensitivity to anesthetic drugs, further reinforces this idea, suggesting that consciousness might be fundamentally quantum mechanical in nature. Recognizing this complex relationship where consciousness plays an active role in shaping reality is a profoundly humbling experience, prompting a deeper appreciation for the mysteries of existence. Ultimately, the gift of quantum immortality isn't simply the promise of endless survival, but the invitation to fully inhabit whatever reality consciousness finds itself in. It's to be completely present to the miracle of awareness itself, recognizing that every moment of conscious experience contributes to the cosmic story of existence, coming to know its own infinite nature. And perhaps, within this framework, we can find not only answers but a deeper appreciation for the profound and enduring questions that define what it means to be alive, aware, and connected to the vast and wondrous universe around us. The passage of time feels different now, doesn't it? Not just with the gentle erosion of years, but a deeper shift in how you perceive your own future, the arc of your life. It's a change that settles in with a quiet insistence, like a realization that the linear narrative you once held so firmly is, perhaps, a rather limited perspective. When we consider the idea that quantum systems exist in superpositions until observed, that reality itself isn't fixed, but rather a collection of potential outcomes, it becomes even more intriguing when applied to the subjective experience of living. If quantum immortality operates through consciousness navigating branching realities, then awareness itself, the very act of observation, becomes both the observer and the observed, a self-regulating system participating in the crystallization of reality. The research on neural microtubules, with their quantum oscillations and sensitivity to anesthetic drugs, further reinforces this idea, suggesting that consciousness might be fundamentally quantum mechanical in nature. Recognizing this complex relationship, where consciousness plays an active role in shaping reality, is a profoundly humbling experience, prompting a deeper appreciation for the mysteries of existence. Ultimately, the gift of quantum immortality isn't simply the promise of endless survival, but the invitation to fully inhabit whatever reality consciousness finds itself in. It's to be completely present to the miracle of awareness itself, recognizing that every moment of conscious experience contributes to the cosmic story of existence, coming to know its own infinite nature. And perhaps, within this framework, we can find not only answers, but a deeper appreciation for the profound and enduring questions that define what it means to be alive, aware, and connected to the vast and wondrous universe around us. It's a strangely beautiful notion, isn't it? The idea that our individual timelines aren't predetermined, but are instead the result of countless choices played out simultaneously across an infinite landscape. But what constitutes measurement remains one of the deepest unsolved problems in physics. And it becomes even more mysterious when applied to consciousness itself. If quantum immortality operates through consciousness, navigating between quantum branches, then awareness itself becomes both the measuring device and the system being measured. This creates a strange loop where consciousness observes its own quantum states, potentially influencing which branch it experiences through the very act of being aware. This remains highly speculative, with no scientific consensus on whether consciousness plays any direct role in quantum measurement. But it points towards something profound about the subjective experience of living. Every moment of awareness might represent a kind of self-measurement, a process by which consciousness observes its own state and thereby participates in determining which reality becomes actualized in experience. Consider this as you notice your own awareness right now. There's something mysterious about the fact that you can observe your own thoughts, that consciousness can turn its attention upon itself. In a quantum framework, this self-observation might be more than just introspection. It might be a fundamental process by which reality crystallizes from possibility into actuality through the strange loop of awareness examining itself. Recent research in neuroscience has revealed that self-awareness involves complex feedback loops between different brain regions, creating what some researchers describe as a kind of neural hall of mirrors, where consciousness observes itself observing itself. While this doesn't prove any quantum effects in the brain, it does suggest that self-awareness is far more complex and recursive than our ordinary experience suggests. As we venture deeper into the implications of quantum immortality, we encounter the strange mathematics of survival across parallel realities. If consciousness truly navigates quantum branches to avoid death, then your personal history becomes not just a sequence of events, but a carefully curated path through an infinite landscape of possibilities. From this perspective, every narrow escape you've experienced, every illness you've recovered from, every accident you've avoided might represent moments where your consciousness selected the improbable, but non-zero probability branches where survival remained possible. The car that swerved at the last moment, the test results that came back negative, the structural beam that didn't fall. These might not be random luck, but evidence of consciousness following quantum paths toward continued existence. This interpretation transforms your life story from a series of fortunate coincidences into something more like a quantum probability walk where awareness somehow gravitates toward realities that support its continuation, not through conscious control, but through whatever mysterious affinity might exist between consciousness and the quantum structure of reality itself. Pause for a moment and reflect on the close calls in your own life, the moments when things could have gone very differently. Try to resist the urge to find meaning or pattern where none may exist, but allow yourself to wonder at the strange fact that you're here to contemplate these possibilities at all. In a universe governed by probability and chance, your continued existence represents an unlikely, but apparently persistent statistical outlier. Of course, this could all be confirmation bias, the human tendency to notice patterns and assign meaning to random events. Every person who survives to contemplate quantum immortality necessarily has a history of survival, creating a kind of anthropic selection effect, where the only observers of the theory are those whose life stories include avoiding death up to that point. This doesn't prove or disprove the theory, but it does remind us to hold these ideas lightly as fascinating possibilities, rather than established facts. But what about the implications of this, really? The question is not whether consciousness is involved, but how. One of the most poignant aspects of quantum immortality theory emerges when we consider its social implications. If consciousness navigates between quantum branches, what happens to the relationships we form along the way? Do the people we love follow similar paths through the multiverse, or do we risk losing them as we jump between realities? This question touches on one of the deepest human concerns, whether the bonds we form transcend the apparent boundaries of individual existence. In a quantum multiverse, where everyone's consciousness might be following different survival paths, relationships become both more precious and more fragile. The person you're sharing your life with right now might represent not just a romantic or platonic connection, but a fellow traveler who somehow managed to navigate quantum branches in ways that keep you together. Some speculative interpretations though lacking any scientific support, suggests that deep emotional connections might create correlations between conscious beings' quantum paths. This would mean that love, friendship, and family bonds might influence which branches of reality consciousness follows, creating a kind of quantum magnetism that draws related awareness toward shared experiences. Whether this has any basis in reality or remains purely wishful thinking, it points towards something profound about human connection. The relationships that feel most meaningful often involve a sense of recognition that seems to transcend the circumstances of how you met. That feeling of having known someone forever despite just meeting them. The synchronicities that occur between close friends, the way couples sometimes share dreams or simultaneous thoughts. These experiences take on new resonance when viewed through the possibility of quantum-correlated consciousness. Take a moment to think about the most important relationships in your life. Notice how these connections often feel larger than the sum of shared experiences, how they seem to touch something more fundamental about who you are. Whether quantum effects play any role or not, relationships do seem to involve a kind of entanglement where individual boundaries become permeable, where consciousness expands beyond the limits of single awareness. If quantum immortality theory offers any practical wisdom, it might lie in how it reframes our relationship with uncertainty itself. Notice how the passage of time feels different now, doesn't it? Not just with the gentle erosion of years, but a deeper shift in how you perceive your own future, the arc of your life. It's a change that settles in with a quiet insistence, like a realization that the linear narrative you once held so firmly is, perhaps, a rather limited perspective. When we consider the idea that quantum systems exist in superpositions until observed that reality itself isn't fixed, but rather a collection of potential outcomes, it becomes even more intriguing when applied to the subjective experience of living. If quantum immortality operates through consciousness navigating branching realities, then awareness itself, the very act of observation, becomes both the observer and the observed, a self-regulating system participating in the crystallization of reality. The research on neural microtubules, with their quantum oscillations and sensitivity to anesthetic drugs, further reinforces this idea, suggesting that consciousness might be fundamentally quantum mechanical in nature. Recognizing this complex relationship where consciousness plays an active role in shaping reality is a profoundly humbling experience, prompting a deeper appreciation for the mysteries of existence. Ultimately, the gift of quantum immortality isn't simply the promise of endless survival, but the invitation to fully inhabit whatever reality consciousness finds itself in. It's to be completely present to the miracle of awareness itself, recognizing that every moment of conscious experience contributes to the cosmic story of existence, coming to know its own infinite nature. And perhaps, within this framework, we can find not only answers but a deeper appreciation for the profound and enduring questions that define what it means to be alive, aware, and connected to the vast and wondrous universe around us. It's a strangely beautiful notion, isn't it? The idea that our individual timelines aren't predetermined, but are instead the result of countless choices played out simultaneously across an infinite landscape. But what constitutes measurement remains one of the deepest unsolved problems in physics. And it becomes even more mysterious when applied to consciousness itself. If quantum immortality operates through consciousness navigating between quantum branches, then awareness itself becomes both the measuring device and the system being measured. This creates a strange loop where consciousness observes its own quantum states, potentially influencing which branch it experiences through the very act of being aware. This remains highly speculative, with no scientific consensus on whether consciousness plays any direct role in quantum measurement, but it points towards something profound about the subjective experience of living. Every moment of awareness might represent a kind of self-measurement, a process by which consciousness observes its own state and thereby participates in determining which reality becomes actualized in experience. Consider this as you notice your own awareness right now. There's something mysterious about the fact that you can observe your own thoughts, that consciousness can turn its attention upon itself. In a quantum framework, this self-observation might be more than just introspection. It might be a fundamental process by which reality crystallizes from possibility into actuality through the strange loop of awareness examining itself. Recent research in neuroscience has revealed that self-awareness involves complex feedback loops between different brain regions, creating what some researchers describe as a kind of neural hall of mirrors, where consciousness observes itself observing itself. While this doesn't prove any quantum effects in the brain, it does suggest that self-awareness is far more complex and recursive than our ordinary experience suggests. As we venture deeper into the implications of quantum immortality, we encounter the strange mathematics of survival across parallel realities. If consciousness truly navigates quantum branches to avoid death, then your personal history becomes not just a sequence of events, but a carefully curated path through an infinite landscape of possibilities. From this perspective, every narrow escape you've experienced, every illness you've recovered from, every accident you've avoided might represent moments where your consciousness selected the improbable, but non-zero probability branches where survival remained possible. The car that swerved at the last moment, the test results that came back negative, the structural beam that didn't fall. These might not be random luck, but evidence of consciousness following quantum paths toward continued existence. This interpretation transforms your life story from a series of fortunate coincidences into something more like a quantum probability walk, where awareness somehow gravitates toward realities that support its continuation, not through conscious control, but through whatever mysterious affinity might exist between consciousness and the quantum structure of reality itself. Pause for a moment and reflect on the close calls in your own life, the moments when things could have gone very differently. Try to resist the urge to find meaning or pattern where none may exist, but allow yourself to wonder at the strange fact that you're here to contemplate these possibilities at all. In a universe governed by probability and chance, your continued existence represents an unlikely but apparently persistent statistical outlier. Of course, this could all be confirmation bias, the human tendency to notice patterns and assign meaning to random events. Every person who survives to contemplate quantum immortality necessarily has a history of survival, creating a kind of anthropic selection effect where the only observers of the theory are those whose life stories include avoiding death up to that point. This doesn't prove or disprove the theory, but it does remind us to hold these ideas lightly as fascinating possibilities rather than established facts. But what about the implications of this, really? The question is not whether consciousness is involved, but how. One of the most poignant aspects of quantum immortality theory emerges when we consider its social implications. If consciousness navigates between quantum branches, what happens to the relationships we form along the way? Do the people we love follow similar paths through the multiverse, or do we risk losing them as we jump between realities? This question touches on one of the deepest human concerns: whether the bonds we form transcend the apparent boundaries of individual existence. In a quantum multiverse where everyone's consciousness might be following different survival paths, relationships become both more precious and more fragile. The person you're sharing your life with right now might represent not just a romantic or platonic connection, but a fellow traveler who somehow managed to navigate quantum branches in ways that keep you together. Some speculative interpretations, though lacking any scientific support, suggest that deep emotional connections might create correlations between conscious beings' quantum paths. This would mean that love, friendship, and family bonds might influence which branches of reality consciousness follows, creating a kind of quantum magnetism that draws related awareness towards shared experiences. Whether this has any basis in reality or remains purely wishful thinking, it points towards something profound about human connection. The relationships that feel most meaningful often involve a sense of recognition that seems to transcend the circumstances of how you met. That feeling of having known someone forever despite just meeting them, the synchronicities that occur between close friends, the way couples sometimes share dreams or simultaneous thoughts. These experiences take on new resonance when viewed through the possibility of quantum-correlated consciousness. Take a moment to think about the most important relationships in your life. Notice how these connections often feel larger than the sum of shared experiences. How they seem to touch something more fundamental about who you are. Whether quantum effects play any role or not, relationships do seem to involve a kind of entanglement where individual boundaries become permeable, where consciousness expands beyond the limits of single awareness. If quantum immortality theory offers any practical wisdom, it might lie in how it reframes our relationship with uncertainty itself. Notice how the passage of time feels different now, doesn't it? Not just with the gentle erosion of years, but a deeper shift in how you perceive your own future, the arc of your life. It's a change that settles in with a quiet insistence, like a realization that the linear narrative you once held so firmly is, perhaps, a rather limited perspective. When we consider the idea that quantum systems exist in superpositions until observed that reality itself isn't fixed, but rather a collection of potential outcomes, it becomes even more intriguing when applied to the subjective experience of living. If quantum immortality operates through consciousness navigating branching realities, then awareness itself, the very act of observation, becomes both the observer and the observed, a self-regulating system participating in the crystallization of reality. The research on neural microtubules, with their quantum oscillations and sensitivity to anesthetic drugs, further reinforces this idea, suggesting that consciousness might be fundamentally quantum mechanical in nature. Recognizing this complex relationship, where consciousness plays an active role in shaping reality, is a profoundly humbling experience, prompting a deeper appreciation for the mysteries of existence. Ultimately, the gift of quantum immortality isn't simply the promise of endless survival, but the invitation to fully inhabit whatever reality consciousness finds itself in. It's to be completely present to the miracle of awareness itself, recognizing that every moment of conscious experience contributes to the cosmic story of existence coming to know its own infinite nature. And perhaps, within this framework, we can find not only answers but a deeper appreciation for the profound and enduring questions that define what it means to be alive, aware, and connected to the vast and wondrous universe around us. The persistent pull of what if has always been a cornerstone of the human spirit. It's in the stories we tell, the art we create, the dreams we chase, a fundamental yearning to explore the unchartable territories of possibility. But what if this inherent drive wasn't simply a product of imagination, but a reflection of something profoundly deeper within the fabric of reality itself? Quantum immortality, in its most provocative interpretation, suggests that awareness isn't simply a byproduct of physical processes. Instead, it might be the very ground upon which reality is constructed. If quantum immortality operates through consciousness navigating branching realities, then awareness itself, the very act of observation, becomes both the observer and the observed, a self-regulating system participating in the crystallization of existence. The research on neural microtubules, with their quantum oscillations and sensitivity to anesthetic drugs, further reinforces this idea, suggesting that consciousness might be fundamentally quantum mechanical in nature. Recognizing this complex relationship where consciousness plays an active role in shaping reality is a profoundly humbling experience, prompting a deeper appreciation for the mysteries of existence. Ultimately, the gift of quantum immortality isn't simply the promise of endless survival, but the invitation to fully inhabit whatever reality consciousness finds itself in. It's to be completely present to the miracle of awareness itself, recognizing that every moment of conscious experience contributes to the cosmic story of existence coming to know its own infinite nature. And perhaps, within this framework, we can find not only answers, but a deeper appreciation for the profound and enduring questions that define what it means to be alive, aware, and connected to the vast and wondrous universe around us. It's tempting to view quantum immortality as a purely theoretical exercise, a fascinating intellectual puzzle detached from the concerns of daily life. But a closer examination reveals a surprisingly potent metaphor for understanding our experience of time, mortality, and the nature of choice. Consider the seemingly random events that shape our lives: a chance encounter, a fortunate decision, a moment of serendipity. Could these not be interpreted as the universe subtly adjusting itself to accommodate the survival of conscious experience? If quantum branch jumping occurs, then our choices aren't simply determining our fate, but actively creating new timelines where possibilities unfold. This doesn't necessarily imply a deterministic universe where every outcome is predetermined. Rather, it suggests a dynamic interplay between consciousness and reality, where awareness itself influences the direction of evolution. As we encounter new information, experience novel sensations, and grapple with complex moral dilemmas, we are, in effect, selecting from a vast field of potential realities, shaping the future of our own experience. This perspective transforms the act of decision, making from a burden of responsibility to an act of creative exploration, a subtle participation in the ongoing unfolding of the universe. However, the implications of quantum immortality extend far beyond personal survival and choice. If consciousness navigates between quantum branches, accumulating experiences from multiple timelines, how does memory work? Do you carry forward the complete history of your quantum journey, or does each branch begin with a fresh slate? This question touches on fundamental mysteries about the nature of memory itself. Recent neuroscience research has revealed that remembering isn't simply retrieving stored information, but actively reconstructing experiences, often incorporating new elements with each recall. Memory appears to be far more fluid and creative than we once imagined. More like an ongoing story that consciousness tells itself than a static record of past events. In a quantum framework, this reconstructive nature of memory takes on new significance. Perhaps what we experience as remembering actually involves accessing information distributed across multiple quantum branches, weaving together fragments of experience from parallel timelines into coherent personal narratives. This would explain why memories often feel simultaneously familiar and strange, why they can shift subtly over time, why they sometimes carry emotional weight that seems disproportionate to the original experience. Consider your own earliest memories. Notice how they exist more as impressions than detailed records. How they blend sensation, emotion, and narrative in ways that resist clear chronological organization. Could these early memories represent consciousness learning to weave together experiences from multiple quantum branches, developing the skill of creating coherent personal history from the scattered fragments of parallel existence? This remains purely speculative, of course, but it points towards something profound about the relationship between consciousness, memory, and identity in a quantum universe. If the self is not a fixed entity, but an ongoing process of consciousness, creating coherent experience from quantum possibility, then memory becomes not just personal history, but a form of quantum archaeology, the recovery of meaningful patterns from the infinite debris of parallel realities. Adding another layer of complexity, the implications for moral responsibility become intensely intriguing. If quantum immortality is real, then every decision creates branching realities where all possible outcomes occur simultaneously. You help the stranger and you don't. You tell the truth and you lie. You act with courage and you succumb to fear, all in different branches of the quantum multiverse. Some interpretations suggest this actually increases rather than diminishes moral responsibility. If every choice literally creates new realities, then ethical decisions become acts of cosmic creation. By choosing kindness, you don't just affect local outcomes, but literally create more branches where kindness exists in the total sum of the multiverse. This perspective transforms every moral choice into a contribution to the overall character of existence itself. But what if the act of choosing itself alters the probabilities of events across these branches? What if the very act of intending a particular action, of focusing your awareness on a specific outcome, subtly shifts the quantum landscape, making that outcome more likely to manifest? This doesn't mean we abandon ethical considerations. Instead, it demands a more expansive understanding of responsibility, one that recognizes the interconnectedness of all possibilities. It shifts the focus from individual culpability to the cultivation of a fundamentally benevolent consciousness, one that actively seeks to amplify patterns of goodness across the multiverse. Yet, it also introduces a fascinating paradox. If our choices are simply one among infinitely many, does our individual action ultimately matter? Perhaps the answer lies in recognizing that even the smallest acts of awareness, the subtlest shifts in intention, can have cascading effects across the quantum landscape. Ultimately, contemplating quantum immortality pushes us beyond simplistic notions of cause and effect, encouraging a more holistic and participatory view of reality. It invites us to recognize that we are not merely passive observers of the universe, but active contributors to its ongoing evolution. This doesn't necessarily imply control, but rather a profound sense of responsibility, a recognition that our choices, however seemingly insignificant, ripple outwards, shaping the very fabric of existence. It's tempting to view quantum immortality as a purely theoretical exercise, a fascinating intellectual puzzle detached from the concerns of daily life. But a closer examination reveals a surprisingly potent metaphor for understanding our experience of time, mortality, and the nature of choice. Consider the seemingly random events that shape our lives: a chance encounter, a fortunate decision, a moment of serendipity. Could these not be interpreted as the universe subtly adjusting itself to accommodate the survival of conscious experience? If quantum branch jumping occurs, then our choices aren't simply determining our fate, but actively creating new timelines where possibilities unfold. This doesn't necessarily imply a deterministic universe where every outcome is predetermined. Rather, it suggests a dynamic interplay between consciousness and reality, where awareness itself influences the direction of evolution. Whether this proves true or false, contemplating it reveals something profound about the relationship between mind and cosmos. Consciousness appears to be not just accidentally present in the universe, but somehow essential to its very structure, the means by which reality comes to know and understand its own nature. Take a moment to appreciate the profound mystery this represents. You are consciousness contemplating consciousness, awareness examining its own nature and place in the cosmic order. Whether quantum immortality is literally true or metaphorically useful, this capacity for self-reflection represents something extraordinary. The universe becoming conscious of itself through your thoughts, your wonder, your ability to contemplate these very possibilities. Quantum immortality theory suggests approaching existence with what we might call quantum presence, a quality of awareness that remains open to multiple possibilities simultaneously, that finds peace in uncertainty rather than grasping for false certainties. This doesn't mean abandoning rational thinking or embracing wishful beliefs, but rather learning to rest comfortably in the space between knowing and not knowing. This orientation transforms daily experience into a form of cosmic exploration. That conversation with a neighbor becomes a unique moment in the universe's investigation of human connection. That decision about which path to take on your evening walk becomes a small participation in reality's navigation of infinite possibilities. That moment of appreciating sunset light on autumn leaves becomes consciousness recognizing beauty as a fundamental feature of existence. Whether quantum effects play any role or not, living with quantum awareness means recognizing that every moment of consciousness represents something unprecedented and unrepeatable in the history of the universe. This exact configuration of thoughts, sensations, and awareness has never existed before and will never exist again, making each moment both utterly ordinary and completely miraculous. Try carrying this perspective into your daily activities. Notice how it might shift your relationship with routine tasks, chance encounters, and quiet moments of reflection. When awareness recognizes itself as part of the universe's own self-discovery, even the most mundane experiences take on cosmic significance. And so we arrive not at answers, but at a deeper appreciation for the questions themselves. Quantum immortality remains unproven and perhaps unprovable, existing in that liminal space where rigorous physics meets the deepest mysteries of consciousness and mortality. We cannot know with certainty whether awareness navigates between quantum branches, whether multiple versions of ourselves exist across parallel realities, or whether consciousness itself transcends the physical processes that appear to support it. But perhaps the value of quantum immortality theory lies not in its literal truth, but in how it expands our relationship with existence itself. It invites us to consider that reality might be far more flexible, consciousness far more fundamental, and the relationship between mind and cosmos far more intimate than our everyday experience suggests. Whether you find comfort or unease in these ideas, whether they spark wonder or skepticism, they serve their purpose by stretching the boundaries of possibility. They remind us that we exist in a universe stranger and more wonderful than our ordinary thinking can grasp. A reality where the deepest questions about consciousness and mortality remain beautifully, mysteriously open. As you continue your journey through this strange and wondrous existence, whether as an immortal consciousness, hopping between quantum realities, or as a temporary arrangement of matter briefly blessed with awareness, remember that the capacity to contemplate these questions represents something extraordinary. You are the universe examining its own nature, consciousness exploring the mystery of its own existence. In moments when life feels heavy or uncertain, when the weight of mortality presses close, perhaps you can find some peace in the recognition that your awareness, whatever its ultimate nature or duration, participates in something infinitely larger and more meaningful than individual survival. Whether consciousness continues across quantum branches or simply flowers briefly before returning to silence, this moment of wonder, this capacity to reach across space and time to touch the deepest truths reality has to offer is already more than enough. And yet, as we sit quietly in the space between certainty and mystery, quantum immortality reveals perhaps its most profound gift. Not the promise of endless survival, but the recognition that consciousness itself might be participating in something far more significant than individual persistence. Whether awareness hops between realities or simply emerges briefly from the dance of particles, the fact remains that you are here now contemplating the deepest questions existence has to offer. Take a gentle breath and notice how remarkable this is. In a universe that began as a hot, dense singularity nearly 14 billion years ago, matter has somehow arranged itself into patterns complex enough to wonder about their own nature. Carbon forged in the hearts of dying stars now contemplates quantum mechanics. Hydrogen that once drifted in primordial clouds now questions the relationship between consciousness and reality. You are literally stardust become aware of itself, and that alone is a kind of miracle that transcends any theory about survival across parallel worlds. This perspective transforms the apparent loneliness of quantum immortality into something more like cosmic responsibility. If consciousness truly does serve as the universe's way of knowing itself, then every moment of awareness becomes precious, not just personally, but cosmically. Your capacity to feel wonder, to recognize beauty, to contemplate mystery. These aren't just private experiences, but contributions to the universe's ongoing project of self-standing. Here's where quantum immortality theory offers an unexpected gift to daily life. It reframes gratitude itself as a cosmic phenomenon. In a multiverse where consciousness navigates between infinite possibilities, every positive experience represents not just good fortune, but a kind of quantum selection from the vast space of all possible experiences. That moment this morning when sunlight caught the edge of a coffee cup just right, creating a small aureole of golden in light. Every day our simply understanding is this a pleasant coincidence of timing and attention. But through the lens of quantum immortality, it becomes something more profound, consciousness encountering one perfect moment among infinite possibilities. Awareness selecting beauty from the quantum field of potential experiences. This doesn't mean you consciously manifest positive experiences through gratitude, a claim that lacks scientific support. Rather, it suggests that the capacity for appreciation might be one way consciousness interfaces with the deeper structures of reality. When you notice and appreciate beauty, kindness, or wonder, you're not just having a personal response, but participating in the universe's recognition of its own positive qualities. Some interpretations suggest, though this remains purely speculative, that consciousness naturally gravitates toward experiences that offer the richest opportunities for growth, connection, and understanding. This would mean that developing the capacity for gratitude and appreciation might enhance whatever subtle connections exist between awareness and the quantum nature of reality. Try this as you move through your day. Notice moments when appreciation arises naturally. Don't force it or manufacture it, but simply observe when beauty, kindness, or wonder catches your attention. Whether quantum effects play any role or not, these moments of recognition represent consciousness fulfilling one of its most fundamental functions, witnessing the universe's capacity for meaning and goodness. If quantum immortality operates through consciousness, navigating between quantum branches, then developing the quality of presence itself might be the most sophisticated technology we possess for interfacing with reality's deeper structures. Not through controlling outcomes, which lack scientific support, but through enhancing awareness' natural capacity for recognizing and responding to subtle patterns and possibilities. Recent research in contemplative neuroscience has begun to map the changes that occur in the brains of experienced meditators. Long-term practitioners show increased cortical thickness in areas associated with attention and sensory processing, enhanced connectivity between different brain regions, and altered patterns of neural activity during both meditation and daily activities. While none of this proves any quantum effects, it does suggest that consciousness can be refined and trained in ways that enhance its fundamental capacities. What's particularly intriguing is that these neural changes seem to correlate with reports of enhanced intuition, greater emotional stability, and what practitioners describe as a more fluid relationship with ordinary reality. Advanced meditators often report experiences that feel like accessing information or insights from beyond their normal cognitive processes. Though this remains subjective and unverified by current scientific methods. In the context of quantum immortality, these meditative technologies take on new significance. If consciousness does somehow navigate quantum branches, then practices that enhance awareness, presence, and sensitivity to subtle patterns might theoretically improve whatever natural guidance systems consciousness possesses for finding its way through the infinite maze of possibility. This doesn't mean meditation can control quantum outcomes, but it might mean that developing contemplative skills enhances consciousness' ability to recognize and respond to the opportunities and connections that exist within any given reality. Whether quantum effects are involved or not, the cultivation of presence seems to make life feel more synchronous, more meaningful, more aligned with deeper patterns of possibility. But perhaps the most transformative implication of quantum immortality theory lies in how it reframes compassion itself. If every being you encounter might a fellow be consciousness navigating their own path through quantum possibility space, then kindness becomes more than interpersonal niceness. It becomes a form of cosmic collaboration. Consider the stranger you passed on the street this morning, the cashier at the grocery store, the person who cut you off in traffic. In our everyday understanding, these are separate individuals whose inner experiences remain largely mysterious to us. But through the lens of quantum immortality, they become fellow travelers in the grand experiment of consciousness, exploring reality, each following their own impossible path through infinite branching possibilities. This perspective doesn't require believing in quantum effects to be meaningful. Whether consciousness navigates multiple realities or not, recognizing the profound mystery of other people's inner experience naturally cultivates humility and compassion. Everyone you meet is carrying their own complete universe of thoughts, memories, hopes, and fears. They've survived their own series of close calls, made their own difficult choices, navigated their own unique path through the maze of existence. Some speculative interpretations suggest that acts of genuine compassion might create correlations between conscious beings, not through supernatural intervention, but through the natural tendency of consciousness to recognize and respond to consciousness. When you truly see someone, when you offer kindness without expectation of return, you might be participating in the universe's own recognition of its interconnected nature. This remains unproven and highly speculative, but it points towards something profound about the relationship between individual awareness and the larger field of consciousness. Compassion doesn't just feel good or create better social outcomes. It might represent consciousness recognizing itself across the apparent boundaries of separate existence. As we venture into the deepest implications of quantum immortality theory, we encounter perhaps the most profound question of all. If consciousness does navigate to infinite quantum branches, what is the ultimate purpose of this cosmic game of survival and exploration? Some interpretations suggest that consciousness serves as the universe's memory system, a way for reality to accumulate and preserve information about its own exploration of possibility. Every experience you have, every insight you gain, every moment of love, beauty, or understanding you encounter becomes part of an ever-growing library of what existence can mean and become. In this view, the apparent randomness of quantum mechanics isn't truly random, but represents the universe exploring its own creative potential through the experiences of conscious beings. Each quantum branch that splits from each decision point adds new chapters to the cosmic story of what reality can become. Consciousness doesn't just observe this process, but actively participates in it, serving as both explorer and chronicler of the infinite landscape of possibility. This remains purely speculative, of course, with no scientific evidence to support such ideas, but it offers a framework for understanding why consciousness might have evolved at all in a universe governed by physical laws. The deepest implications of quantum immortality theory. We encounter perhaps the most profound question of all: if consciousness does navigate to infinite quantum branches, what is the ultimate purpose of this cosmic game of survival and exploration? Some interpretations suggest that consciousness serves as the universe's memory system, a way for reality to accumulate and preserve information about its own exploration of possibility. Every experience you have, every insight you gain, every moment of love, beauty, or understanding you encounter becomes part of an ever-growing library of what existence can mean and become. In this view, the apparent randomness of quantum mechanics isn't truly random, but represents the universe exploring its own creative potential through the experiences of conscious beings. Each quantum branch that splits from each decision point adds new chapters to the cosmic story of what reality can become. Consciousness doesn't just observe this process, but actively participates in it, serving as both explorer and chronicler of the infinite landscape of possibility. This remains purely speculative, of course, with no scientific evidence to support such ideas, but it offers a framework for understanding why consciousness might have evolved at all in a universe governed by physical laws. Rather than being an accidental byproduct of complex chemistry, awareness might serve an essential function in reality's ongoing project of self-discovery and creative expression. This contemplative shift, contemplating the implications, reveals something profound about the relationship between individual experience and cosmic meaning. Your life isn't just a personal story, but potentially a unique contribution to the universe's understanding of its own nature and potential. Every choice you make, every experience you have, every moment of consciousness you enjoy adds data to the cosmic experiment in what it means to exist. Perhaps the deepest wisdom quantum immortality offers isn't about survival or purpose, but about the art of living gracefully with uncertainty itself. Whether consciousness navigates quantum branches or simply emerges briefly from matter before returning to silence, the fact remains that existence involves a fundamental encounter with the unknown at every moment. Quantum mechanics teaches us that uncertainty isn't just a limitation of our knowledge, but a basic feature of reality at its deepest level. Particles don't have definite properties until measured, systems exist in superposition until observed. Outcomes remain genuinely undetermined until they crystallize into experience. This isn't a failure of science, but a profound insight into the open-ended nature of existence itself. Learning to live with quantum uncertainty means embracing not knowing as the natural condition of conscious existence. This doesn't mean abandoning rational thinking or embracing wishful beliefs, but rather developing comfort with the space between certainty and confusion, the realm where possibilities remain fluid and the future stays genuinely open. Take a moment right now to notice the quality of not knowing in your own experience. You don't know what thoughts will arise next, what sensations will emerge, what sounds might reach your ears. There's something both unsettling and liberating about this fundamental openness. This recognition that reality remains unscripted at its core. In contemplative traditions, this recognition often leads to what mystics call don't know mind, a state of awareness that rests comfortably in uncertainty without grasping for false certainties. Whether quantum effects are involved or not, this capacity to remain present and responsive in the face of the unknown seems essential for navigating a universe that reveals new mysteries faster than it resolves old ones. If there's any practical wisdom to be gleaned from quantum immortality theory, it might lie in how contemplating it transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for cosmic participation. Whether consciousness hops between realities or not, every moment of awareness represents a unique sampling of infinite possibility, a specific crystallization of potential into actuality. This morning's cup of tea becomes not just caffeine delivery, but a moment when consciousness encounters warmth, flavor, and comfort selected from all possible experiences. The conversation with a friend becomes not just social interaction, but two forms of awareness recognizing each other across the vast space of possible connections. The moment of noticing sunset light filtering through leaves becomes consciousness witnessing beauty as a fundamental feature of reality. This perspective doesn't require belief in quantum effects to be meaningful. It simply involves recognizing that every moment of awareness occurs against a backdrop of infinite possibility, making each experience both utterly ordinary and completely unprecedented. This exact configuration of thoughts, sensations, and circumstances has never existed before and will never exist again, making it both routine and miraculous. Try carrying this recognition into your daily activities. Notice how it might shift your relationship with mundane tasks, chance encounters, and quiet moments of reflection. When awareness recognizes itself as part of the universe's ongoing exploration of its own nature, even the most ordinary experiences take on cosmic significance. Perhaps most remarkably, quantum immortality theory offers a unique form of comfort in the face of loss and mortality. If the theory holds any truth, then death isn't an ending, but a kind of quantum editing, a pruning of the tree of possibility that leaves consciousness intact in other branches. This doesn't diminish the reality of grief or the poignancy of loss in our subjective experience, but it does suggest that love and connection might persist in ways that transcend the apparent finality of individual death. Even if quantum immortality proves false, contemplating it reveals something profound about the nature of connection itself. The bonds we form, the love we share, the recognition we experience when consciousness meets consciousness, these represent something more fundamental than mere social construction or evolutionary programming. They point toward the possibility that awareness itself is inherently relational. That consciousness naturally seeks and recognizes consciousness across the apparent boundaries of separate existence, whether through quantum entanglement or more conventional forms of influence. The people we love do seem to leave traces in our awareness that persist beyond physical presence. Memory becomes more than just neural storage, it becomes a form of ongoing relationship with consciousness that has touched ours. The insights gained through deep connection, the ways love changes us, the expanded sense of self that emerges through genuine intimacy, these suggest that consciousness is far more permeable and interconnected than our everyday sense of individual identity suggests. This doesn't promise literal reunion after death, but it does point toward the possibility that love itself might be a fundamental feature of reality, a way consciousness recognizes and connects with itself across the apparent divisions of space, time, and individual existence. As our exploration of quantum immortality draws towards its close, we encounter perhaps its most beautiful paradox. The theory that promises endless survival ultimately teaches us about the preciousness of each finite moment. Whether consciousness navigates eternal branches of possibility or simply flowers briefly from matter before returning to silence, this particular moment of awareness you're experiencing right now represents something unprecedented and unrepeatable in the history of the universe. Take a gentle breath and notice the profound intimacy of present moment experience, the sensation of air moving through your nostrils, the weight of your body against whatever surface supports it, the quality of light in your peripheral vision, the subtle background hum of thoughts and sensations that constitute your immediate reality. Whether these experiences emerge from quantum processes or classical neuroscience, they represent consciousness encountering itself in this specific form at this exact moment in this particular configuration of possibility. Quantum immortality theory, whether literally true or metaphorically useful, serves as a mirror that reflects back the profound mystery of consciousness itself. It reminds us that awareness is not just accidentally present in the universe, but somehow essential to its very structure, the means by which reality comes to know and appreciate its own nature and creative potential. In contemplating the possibility that consciousness might navigate infinite branches, we encounter the deeper truth that awareness is already participating in something infinite, the universe's ongoing project of understanding itself through subjective experience. Every moment of wonder, every recognition of beauty, every act of love or compassion becomes a contribution to this cosmic experiment in what it means to exist. And so we return to where we began, with wonder. Wonder at the strange fact that matter can become aware of itself, that particles forged in stellar fusion can contemplate quantum mechanics, that temporary arrangements of atoms can experience love, beauty, and the deep questions that probe the nature of existence itself. Whether you are quantum immortal or beautifully finite, whether consciousness navigates eternal branches or simply dances briefly with matter before dissolution, the capacity you possess right now to contemplate these mysteries represents an achievement of cosmic proportions. You are the universe examining its own nature. Consciousness exploring the deepest questions reality has to offer. In moments when existence feels heavy or uncertain, when the weight of mortality or the burden of choice presses close, perhaps you can find peace in recognizing that your awareness, whatever its ultimate nature or duration, participates in something infinitely larger and more meaningful than individual survival. Whether consciousness continues across quantum branches or simply contributes briefly to the universe's self-standing, this moment of wonder, this capacity to reach across space and time, to touch the deepest truths existence has to offer is already more than enough. The questions quantum immortality raises about consciousness, mortality, choice, and meaning may never receive definitive answers, but perhaps that's as it should be. Some mysteries are too profound for resolution, too beautiful for dissection, too essential to the nature of consciousness itself to be reduced to simple explanations. As you continue your journey through this strange and wondrous existence, whether as an immortal consciousness exploring infinite realities or as a temporary flowering of awareness in the cosmic dance, remember that the capacity to wonder is itself a form of participation in the deepest mystery of all existence, coming to know itself through your eyes, your thoughts, your irreplaceable perspective on what it means to be. The air shifts around you, a subtle change almost imperceptible, yet undeniably present. It's a reminder that you are, quite simply, here, not just existing, but aware of existing, and that, in itself, feels like a monumental achievement, a quiet triumph against the vast, unknowable silence of the universe. We've journeyed through this concept of quantum immortality, a notion that dances on the edges of scientific possibility and philosophical wonder. We've considered the implications of a consciousness that doesn't simply cease to be at death, but instead fragments, shifts, and perhaps even leaps across a multitude of parallel realities. The weight of mortality, that insistent shadow that stretches across our lives, begins to lighten, replaced by something infinitely more expansive, the awareness that you are, in some fundamental way, inextricably linked to the very process of the universe's unfolding. It's a strangely comforting thought, isn't it, to consider that every near miss, every brush with disaster, every seemingly insignificant decision might, in a deeper, more intricate tapestry of existence, be a quantum thread pulling you towards a new possibility, a new iteration of yourself, a new branch of the endless tree of reality. Perhaps the anxieties that grip you, the worries about the future, the regrets of the past, are merely the echoes of a consciousness navigating these infinite pathways, always seeking, always adapting, always striving to understand the forces that shape its experience. The questions themselves about identity, about memory, about the very nature of our being take on a new dimension when viewed through this lens. They become less about finding definitive answers and more about embracing the inherent ambiguity, the beautiful, unsettling uncertainty that lies at the heart of existence. There's a recognition here, I hope, of something profoundly precious. That this moment, this feeling of awareness, is a singular, irreplaceable experience. It's a fleeting spark of consciousness, born from a temporary arrangement of matter, a brief and luminous flower blooming in the cosmic garden. And though that flower will inevitably fade, returning to the silence from which it came, its brief existence carries with it an inherent significance. It's a contribution, however small, to the universe's ongoing project of self-discovery. The universe isn't simply out there, observing itself. It experiences itself through us, through every conscious being that dares to ask the fundamental questions, to grapple with the mysteries of existence. The idea of quantum immortality isn't about proving that we'll live forever in some literal, physical sense. It's more about unlocking a deeper understanding of what it means to be conscious, to be aware, to participate in the universe's grand experiment. It's about recognizing that our individual experiences, our choices, our relationships are not merely personal matters, but ripples extending outwards, influencing the entire cosmic landscape. It's an invitation to approach life with a sense of awe, with a willingness to embrace the strange and wonderful possibilities that lie just beyond our conventional understanding. Let's be clear, this isn't a philosophy for those seeking certainty. It's a philosophy for those who find solace in the unknown, who appreciate the beauty of paradox, who understand that some questions are simply too profound to be answered with simple equations. The universe, in its infinite complexity, doesn't always offer easy solutions. It rewards curiosity, it rewards exploration, and it demands a certain level of humility. We are, after all, just beginning to scratch the surface of our own understanding. Consider the scale of it all. Think about the sheer number of possible realities branching out from every single moment of existence. It's a mind-boggling concept, isn't it? Yet, within that vastness, there's a profound sense of connection. We are not isolated individuals, adrift in a meaningless void. We are part of something larger, something infinitely interconnected. And within that connection, there's a unique and irreplaceable role for each of us to play. The very act of questioning, of seeking answers, is itself a contribution. The more we explore these complex ideas, the more we challenge our assumptions, the more we expand our understanding of the universe and our place within it. And perhaps, in the process, we begin to realize that the true purpose of existence isn't to find a definitive answer, but to live the question, to embrace the journey of discovery, to savor the present moment, to appreciate the beauty of the world around us, and to connect with others in a spirit of compassion and understanding. It's a humbling thought, isn't it? To realize that our individual lives, however brief they may seem, are woven into the fabric of the cosmos. We are, in a sense, co-creators of reality, shaping the world around us with our thoughts, our feelings, our actions. And the more conscious we become of this power, the more responsibility we take for our choices. The journey through this idea of quantum immortality, whether it turns out to be a literal truth or a powerful metaphor, has offered us a new way of seeing the world, a new way of understanding our place in it. It's a reminder that there are forces at play beyond our comprehension, that reality may be far stranger than we can imagine, and that consciousness itself may be a fundamental building block of the universe. Ultimately, the value of contemplating these ideas isn't about arriving at a definitive answer. It's about the process of questioning, of exploring, of expanding our minds and hearts. It's about recognizing that the universe is full of mysteries and that it's okay to be awestruck by them. So, as you move forward, remember this: you are a unique and irreplaceable participant in the universe's ongoing experiment in self-discovery. You are a ripple of consciousness, contributing to the grand, unfolding narrative of existence. And in that contribution, there is a profound and enduring beauty. Now, if you're drawn to delve even deeper into these mind-bending concepts, I invite you to explore another fascinating question about the nature of consciousness. Is consciousness a particle? The quantum theory that terrifies physicists, where we'll examine whether consciousness might be woven into the very fabric of reality at the most basic level. Until then, may you find peace in the quantum uncertainty that underlies all existence. Sleep well, fellow travelers, in the infinite mystery of being aware.